take a look at our first problem. I want to plot these points on the graph. So we've got 4, -6. And we got 6, 7. And step 1, plot the points. Okay. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The point 6, 7 would go to the intersection of x is equal to 6 and y is equal to 7. And that would be our point 6, 7. 4, -6. The 4 is your x, the y is your -6, so I'm going to the intersection of 4 and -6 and putting a point. So this one right here is 6, 7, and this one right here is 4, -6. That's part A. Let's see what part B says. Identify the coordinates of the points. Oh, okay, this is not related to part A at all. Okay, so they want us to identify, this is our second part of this problem. Want us to identify the point A. Well, if I take my point A and I come straight up to my x-axis, that would give me 4. This would be the point A. Then if I go straight over to my y-axis, here's -5, -6. This would be -7. Now for point B, if I come straight over or straight down to my x-axis, that would be -7. And if I come straight over to my y-axis, that would be 4. It's kind of weird. 4, -7, -7, 4. I think it's right. Okay, step 2. Or step 2. Problem 2. Says determine the missing coordinate in ordered pair so it satisfies the equation 5x plus 6y is equal to 11. Then we got -5, comma something. Well, remember this is your x part and this is your y part. So we're trying to find out the y part. And the equation they give us is 5x plus 6y is 11. So 5x plus 6y is equal to 11. Well, since they give us x, they tell us x is -5, we could put -5 in for the x. So 5 times -5 plus 6y is equal to 11. 5 times -5 is -25 plus 6y is equal to 11. Take the -25 to the right side and it becomes a positive 25. 11 plus 25 is 36. And then divide both sides by 6. And we get y is equal to 6. So 6 would be our answer. That's the part that goes in this blank. Let's see, problem 3. Oh, wait a minute, there's another one. Duh. This is part B. This is 2B. They give us blank 3/2. So blank 3/2. Here they want to know what the x is, but they're giving us the y. So back to the same 5x plus 6y is equal to 11. Okay. So we're going to plug 3/2 in for the y. So we've got 5x plus 6 times 3/2 equals 11. Now 6 and 2 are both divisible by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So 3 times 3 is 9 equals 11. Take the 9 over to the right side and we get 11 minus 9, which gives us 2. And then divide both sides by 5. And we get x is equal to 2/5. Now let me double check that. Okay, 3, okay, or 2. 2 plus 9, okay, that checks. I don't know why I was thinking this was going to come out nice. Let's take a look at number 3. Complete the table below so that each ordered pair will satisfy the equation. So same setup. We're trying to find a point here. So they're asking us to build a t-chart basically. Then this one they're telling us x is 2. And we're trying to find y. And our second part they're telling us y is 4. And we're trying to find x. And our equation is 5x plus 5y is equal to 10. Okay, so they give us the x value here. So let's do that one first. They're giving us x is equal to 2. So if we put that in for the x, we got 5 times 2 plus 5y is equal to 10. 5 times 2 is 10, so we got 10 plus 5y is equal to 10. Take the 10 over, and we got 10 minus 10, which gives us 0. And then divide both sides by 5. And we end up with y is equal to 0. So that'd be our first part of our answer. On the second part, they're telling us that y is equal to 4. So we're going to plug 4 in for the y. So we've got 5x plus 5 times 4 equals 10. 5 times 4 is 20. Take 20 over to the right side, becomes a negative 20. 10 minus 20 is negative 10. And then divide both sides by 5. And we get x is equal to negative 2. Now I believe the second part of that is they want us to graph it. Graph the resulting set of ordered pairs. Graph the resulting set. So they're not wanting us to graph the line, they're just wanting to graph the points. Okay. Well, 2, 0. I go where x is 2 and y is 0, which is on the x-axis. Negative 2, 4. Go to negative 2 on my x-axis, y on my 4, and that would be where my other point goes. So those would be our 2 points. Assuming there's not a part C. Okay, let's see. Nope, no part C. So 4. We have given the equation f is equal to 9/5 C plus 32, where C is the temperature in degrees Celsius, F is corresponding degrees in Fahrenheit. Complete the table below so that each ordered pair will satisfy the equation. So we want to build a t-chart again. So we got C and F. And C, they're telling us are 10 and 30. And the formula we're working with is F equals 9/5 C plus 32. Okay, so we want to plug in each one of those. First thing we'll do is we'll plug in C is equal to 10. So we got F is equal to 9/5 times 10 plus 32. Well, 5 and 10 both divisible by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So we're going to have 18. 9 times 2 plus 32, which gives us 50. So that'd be 50. Now for our second one, we got c is equal to 30. So plug 30 in for the c. So we got f is equal to 9/5 times 30 plus 32. 5 and 30 both divisible by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 30 divided by 5 is 6. 9 times 6 is 54 plus 32, which gives us 86. And I believe the second part was to plot these points. Step 2, graph the resulting set of ordered pairs. Now, typically, when it's of this form, it doesn't have to be, but if it's in this form, then we think of the slope-intercept form. Y is equal to mx plus b, where the f would be our y and the c would correspond to our x. So this would be f, and this would be c. Just as a general rule, when you got a t-chart like this, where c is first, these are your independent variable, which means that would go on this axis. And your dependent variable usually goes on the y-axis. Doesn't have to. There's nothing set in stone about that, but that's typical convention. Okay, and it looks like C's go up to 30 and F's go up to 90, let's say. That's 86. So this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. And then my C's is 10, 20, and 30. So the first one is 10, 50. 30, 40, 50. Realize that your tick marks do not have to go by ones. You can go by tens. So again, this is 10, 20, 30, and then the Y's similar 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Now next one is 30, 86. And if this is 90 and this is 80, 86, somewhere halfway in between them. If you're not quite sure you got it in the right spot, make your dot a little bigger and you're fine. Let me save this page. There we go. Let's take a look at the next problem. Okay, determine that the given ordered pair satisfies the equation 3x plus 4y is equal to negative 3. So 3x plus 4y is equal to negative 3. We've got negative 1, 0. And we got 0, negative 4. Well, let's see if they satisfy that. What we're going to do is we're going to plug these in for x and y. When they give you a point, they're giving you the x and they're giving you the y. So up here we'll put negative 1 in for the x, and we'll put 0 in for the y. And this is more of a question mark at this point. We're wondering if that's true. 4 times 0 drops away. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. So we get negative 3 is equal to negative 3, so that one checks. So the answer at that point is yes. Now for 0, 4. Again, this is your x, this is your y, so we'll put 0 in for the x, and we'll put negative 4 in for the y. Well, 3 times 0 drops away, and this is a question mark, by the way. 4 times negative 4 is negative 16, equal negative 3? It doesn't. So this means that does not check, which implies our answer is no. And number 6. It says find 2 points on the line, then you use your graph to graph the line. So we've got negative 3x minus 3y equal to 0. Probably the easiest point, since it doesn't specify which point to use, probably the easiest one always to use is your x and y intercept. Now your x-intercept, what you're going to do is you're going to always plug 0 into the other variable. So for the x-intercept, I'll plug 0 in for y. So we got negative 3x minus 3 times 0 is equal to 0. Negative 3 times 0 is 0, so it drops away. So negative 3 is equal to 0. And then divide both sides by negative 3. And we end up with x is equal to 0. That's not a good sign. So we'd have the point 0, 0. Reason why it's not a good sign is if your x-intercept is your origin, then your y-intercept would be the origin too. And we really need to have 2 points. So I guess we're going to need to pick some other value. Let me pick x is equal to 1. Does not matter what x value you pick. So I got negative 3 times 1 minus 3y is equal to 0. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3 minus 3y is equal to 0. Take the negative 3y to the right side, becomes a positive 3y. And then divide both sides by a number in front of your y. And we get y is equal to negative 1. So this point would be 1, negative 1. Okay, so now that we got our 2 points, our origin is 0, 0. That goes right there. 1, negative 1. That'd be right there. And then draw a line through them. That should be a straight line, but use your imagination. So that's my first point, that's my second point, and this is my graph. Okay, let's take a look at number 7. It says find 2 points on a line and then use your answer to graph the line. So we got negative 5x plus 4y is equal to, I believe, 10. Yeah. Now this time I'm going to try the x-intercept and y-intercept again. It's worth trying. So it makes it a lot easier if you choose zeros. So for x-intercept, we're going to plug 0 into the other variable. So we'll plug 0 in for y. So I got negative 5x plus 4 times 0 is equal to 10. And negative 5x is equal to 10. 4 times 0 drops away. Then we'll drop or divide both sides by negative 5. And we get x is equal to negative 2. So this point would be negative 2, 0. Now for a y-intercept, again, we'll always plug 0 into the other variable. So I'll plug 0 in for x. So I got negative 5 times 0 plus 4y is equal to 10. Negative 5 times 0 drops away. So we got 4y is equal to 10. Divide both sides by 4. And 10 fourths reduces to 5 halves. So this point would be 0, 5 halves. Now it's best to convert this to either a decimal or to a mixed number. This would be 0, 2.5. When you're trying to plot the points, 5 halves is kind of difficult to see where it's at. But 2.5 or 2.5 is a lot easier to see. Okay, so negative 2, 0 would be right there. 0, 2.5 would be right there. Once we got our 2 points, then we'll draw a line through. Did I say draw a line? Let's see. Then use your answer to graph the line. Okay, yeah, they do say it. Okay, so that's our answers. Now you could have different points you pick, but you should come up with the same line. So number 8. Find 2 points on a line, then use your answer to graph the line. 3y is equal to negative 2. Now, this is one of our oddball cases. The reason why is because there's only one variable. There's not the x and a y. So I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 3. And we get y is equal to negative 2/3. Since it's one of our oddball cases, it's easy to pick points. It doesn't matter what you put in for x. If I put 0 in for x, y is going to be negative 2/3. If I put 2 in for x, y is going to be negative 2/3. No matter what, y is negative 2/3. So those would be 2 points. And y is equal to negative 2/3, we know is a horizontal line at negative 2/3. So here's negative 1. So negative 2/3 would be about right there. You could plot those points if you want, but again, since this is one of our oddball cases, you don't really need those points to graph it. Now if I did put them on there, 0, negative 2/3 would be right there. That's my first point. And 2, negative 2/3 would be right here. So it does work, but you don't need to. Okay. Now it's specifically telling us to find the x and y, or y-intercept and x-intercept. So we got 8x minus 2y is equal to 8. And we'll find the x-intercept first. Doesn't matter which one you pick first. Again, to find the x-intercept, you always plug 0 into the other variable, so we'll plug 0 in for y. So we're going to have 8x minus 2 times 0 is equal to 8. Negative 2 times 0 drops away, so we got 8x is equal to 8. Divide both sides by 8. And we end up with x is equal to 1. So this point would be 1, 0. Now for our y-intercept. Again, you always plug 0 into the other variable. So I'm finding the y-intercept, so I'll plug 0 in for x. So I got 8 times 0 minus 2y is equal to 8. 8 times 0 drops away. We got negative 2y is equal to 8. Divide both sides by negative 2. And we get y is equal to negative 4. So this point would be 0, negative 4. Now for the x-intercept and y-intercept, those answers are unique. It's unlike plotting points where you can pick any point. You should have those same answers. Another intercept one. So number 10. Let me save that page. And number 10. We got a negative 8x plus 5y is equal to 7. Find the x-intercept. You always plug 0 into the other variable. So we got 8x plus 5 times 0 equals 7. 5 times 0 drops away, so we got 8x is equal to 7. Divide both sides by 8. And you get x is equal to 7/8. So the answer would be 7/8, 0. Now for our y-intercept. Again, you always plug 0 into the other variable, so I'll plug 0 in for x. Is that a negative 8? Negative 8. Eyes are going. That's negative, negative, negative. So that'd be a negative and negative there. Okay, so we'll have negative 8 times 0 plus 5y is equal to 7. Negative 8 times 0 drops away, so we've got 5y is equal to 7. Divide both sides by 5. And we get y is equal to 7/5. So this point would be 0, 7/5. Again, those are a little bit hard to spot if I was actually going to graph these, so decimal might be better. Number 11. Consider the linear equation y is equal to 3x plus 5. It says first determine the slope and the y-intercept. Well, if it's in slope-intercept form, and slope-intercept form is when you got y by itself. Then your number in front of your x is always your slope. So your slope is 3. And your y-intercept is the number at the end. So y-intercept is 5, or you could write it as 0, 5 if you wanted. It then says to graph the y-intercept. What does that mean? Oh, okay. It's graph the y-intercept. It's wondering why it wasn't the entire line. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It says graph your y-intercept first. You put that there. Then step 3, let's see, in step 2 you graphed it, use the slope to find a second point, I'm assuming. Second point on the line other than the y-intercept, and then graph the line connecting these 2 points. Okay. They tell us m is 3, and we put that in fraction form. M would be 3 over 1. Now this is a positive 3, so it means we'll go up 3. And this is a positive 1, which means we're going to go right 1. So from the point I just drew, I'm going to go up 3 and right 1. So go up 3 and right 1, and that's where we put our second point. Now once we have our 2 points, we draw a line through them, and that's our graph. If I was graphing this instead of by hand on the calculator, y is equal to 3x plus 5. Let's see what that gives us. While that's loading, I'll go ahead and grab a drink. Okay. I'm going to go to y equals and press clear. And it's 3x plus 5. So do 3x plus 5 and then graph. Which should be the same graph we got by hand, more or less. Calculator's more accurate than I am. Okay, number 12. We got y is equal to 2/3 x minus 3. It says determine slope and y-intercept, graph the y-intercept, so it looks like same instructions. Okay, well if it's in slope-intercept form is when you have y by itself. Then your slope is whatever's in front of your x, which is 2/3, and your y-intercept is the number at the end, which is -3. And again, I'm happy with those forms for your answer, for those if you want, but the point would look like 0, -3 if you're curious. Now to graph this, first we go do our y-intercept, which is at -3. Now our slope is 2/3. Positive 2 means we go up 2. Positive 3 means we go right 3. If that had been -2, we'd go down 2. If that had been a -3, we would have went left 3. So from the point we just drew, we're going to go up 2 and right 3. So up 2, right 3, and that's where we put our second point. And again, you do that from your y-intercept. And then we draw a line through them. Now if I was graphing this on the calculator, y is equal to 2/3 x minus 3. Go to y equals, clear, 2 divided by 3, x, 2/3, what did I say? No memory. 2/3 x minus 3. And then graph. Now I have 0 on y2. That's from another class. It doesn't hurt anything to have it there. But you do not need it, in case you're curious. And you see we get the same graph. Okay, number 13. Find the slope determined by the following pair of points. We got -3, -4. And we got 0, 6. Well, when you're given 2 points, this is your first point, so I'll label this as x1, y1. This is your second point, so I'll label as x2, y2. And we've got a formula. It says m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Probably always a good idea, if you mess up on signs anyway, to go through and put parentheses in for your variables before you plug in your numbers. Well, we said y2 is 6, y1 is -4, we said x2 is 0, and we said x1 is -3. Well, negative becomes positive, so that becomes 6 plus 4. And down here, negative becomes positive, so this becomes 0 plus 3, which gives us m is equal to 10/3. Number 14. Okay. I want to graph the linear equation. We got y is equal to -4. They say identify if it's horizontal, vertical, and give its slope. Whenever we have the y equals, that's always a horizontal line. And if you got a horizontal line, your slope by default is 0. If you got a vertical line, vertical's up and down, then your slope is undefined. So m is undefined. It says graph the line by plotting two distinct points that lie on a line. If you want to do that, that's fine. But since we know it's a horizontal line at -4, let's go ahead and just do that. Horizontal line at -4. And if I want to put 2 points on there, I can just put 2 points anywhere. But that would be our graph. Okay, number 15. Let's see, got 2 points, find the slope, find the y-intercept, and then determine the equation line. Why are they giving us the point? Oh well. We got -8, 3. And we got 4, 0. I'm not going to go through their bizarre method there. You don't need you don't need the graph to actually determine this. The graph is nice to double check your slope, but that's about the extent of it. Also your y-intercept. But our first step is to find m. Well, remember, if we're given 2 points, this will be x1, this will be y1, this will be x2, and this will be y2. Then we've got a formula. It says m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So put parentheses in before we plug in our variables. Always a good idea. We said y2 is 0. We said y1 is 3. We said x2 is 4. And we said x1 is -8. Well, 0 minus 3 is -3. Down here, a negative becomes positive. So we got 4 plus 8. Which gives us -3 over 12. Which becomes m is equal to -1/4. Now step 2. These are the 3 steps I gave you in class. Is plug in the given point. Now we've got 2 points. It doesn't matter which one you pick. This one looks a little easier. It doesn't have a negative and has a 0. So plug in our point. So here we're saying y is 0. Plug in the m we just found, which is -1/4. And the x, which we said is 4. Plus b. And then we want to solve for b. The 4's cancel, so we got 0 is equal to -1 plus b. Take -1 over, and we got b is equal to 1. And step 3 is to write our answer. We plug in the m we found, which was -1/4. And we plug in the b we found, which was 1. And we get y is equal to -1/4 x plus 1. Well, let's look at the graph and determine if that makes sense. Well, it looks like the y-intercept is 1. And slope we said was -1/4. So down 1, right 4. Yeah, that sure looks correct. So that'd be your answer. Let me save this. And start a new page. Okay, so we got 16. Let's see what 16 says. Write the following in slope-intercept form. 16x minus 4y equals -8. Now, slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form means solve for y. So we'll go through this is our five steps for solving a formula for a variable. First step is to get rid of parentheses, don't have any. Second step is get rid of fractions, don't have any. Third step is to get everything with the variable we're solving for on one side, everything else on the other side. So I'm going to take this -4y, move it over to the right side, and I'll take this -8 and move it to the left side. Remember, you take anything across or equals, your sign changes. So we've got 16x plus 8 equals a positive 4y. Now, step 4, we won't have to do it all in this section, where if you have 2 or more of that variable factored out. So we'll go to step 5. And step 5 says divide both sides by what's in front of / back of the variable you're solving for. Solving for y, and there's a 4 in front of it. So we're going to divide. And over on the left side, we're specifically going to divide the 16 by 4, and we'll divide the 8 by 4. So it'll be in slope-intercept form. And then, of course, 4 by 4 here. 16 divided by 4 is 4, so we got 4x plus 8 divided by 4 is 2 is equal to y. Doesn't matter which side y is on, that would be your answer. Number 17. Write the following equation in slope-intercept form. So we got 7x plus 15y is equal to -15. And we want to get y by itself. So same instructions, same steps. First step is get rid of parentheses, don't have any. Second step is get rid of fractions, don't have any. Third step, get everything with the variable you're solving for on one side, everything else on the other side. We're solving for y, so I'm going to take the 7x and move it to the right side. And then we'll have everything with y on the left side. So we've got 15y is equal to -7x minus 15. Again, you take anything across or equals, your sign changes. So the positive 7x became a -7x. Step 4, we still don't have to do. Step 5, divide both sides by what's in front of / back of the variable you're solving for. So we'll divide everything by 15. Then we get y is equal to -7/15 x, and 15 divided by 15 is 1. And that's our answer. Okay, number 18. Find the equation in slope-intercept form of the line with the given slope passes through the point coordinates. What in the world? Point coordinates. Oh, point with the given coordinates. Okay, I'd never heard of point coordinates before. I knew what they meant, but so slope is 0. And it passes through -7, -4. Different ways you could work this one. We'll go through the 3 steps I gave you in order to solve this. But since the slope is 0, we know it's going to be a horizontal line, so our answer right away is y is equal to -4. First step. First step is to find m. Well, m's given. M is 0. Step 2. Plug in a given point for x and y. They're giving us a point. So they're giving us the x and they're giving us the y. So put -4 in for the y. M is 0 times x, which is -7, plus b. Well, 0 times -7 drops away, so we got b is equal to -4. And step 3, write your answer down. we want to plug in the m from step 1, which we said was 0, and a b from step 2, which we said was negative 4. 0 times x drops away, and we end up with y is equal to negative 4. Again, no surprise, that's what we said it was going to be based upon it being the oddball case. Number 19. Tells us the slope is 5. And passes through the point, negative 3, 2. Okay, same steps. First step is to find m. Well, m's given again, so m is 5. Step 2, plug in the given point for x and y into y equals mx plus b. So this is our x and this is our y. So we got 2 equals, and m we said was 5, so put 5 in for the m, times x, which we said was negative 3, plus b. And then we want to solve for b. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15 plus b. Take negative 15 over, becomes a positive 15. So we end up with b is equal to 17. Now step 3 is to write your answer down. Well, we plug in the m we found in step 1, which was 5. We'll plug in the b we found in step 2, which is 17. And our answer is y is equal to 5x plus 17. Number 20. Find the equation in slope-intercept form, line passed through those 2 points. 1, negative 5. Three, 3. Well, same steps. First step is to find m. Well, we're not given m directly in this problem, so we have to use our formula. Remember, this is our first point, so this will be x1, y1. This is our second point, so this will be x2, y2. And our formula is m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Always a good idea to put parentheses in for your variables before you plug in your numbers. So let's do that. Okay, y2 is 3, y1 is negative 5. x2 is 3, and x1 is 1. So we got negative, negative, become positive, so that's 3 plus 5. Down here, 3 minus 1 is 2. So we got 8 over 2, which gives us m is equal to 4. Step 2. Plug in one of your points. Doesn't matter which one. I'll plug in the second one. There's no negative on it. So I'll plug this in for x, plug this in for y. Both of them give you the same answer. And m we just said was 4, so plug 4 in. And then 3 for the x. Then solve for b. 12 times 4 is 3 plus b. Take 12 to the left side, becomes a negative 12. Which gives us b is equal to negative 9. Step 3. Write our answer down. So we'll plug in the m from step 1, which is 4. And we'll plug in the b from step 2, which is negative 9. Now on these, you can do a little mental check on them. For the 1, negative 5, I plug 1 in for the x. I put 1 here. 4 times 1 is 4 minus 9. Is that negative 5? Yeah, it is. If I plug in x equals 3, the x part of my second point. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 minus 9 is 3, which gives us the y part. So if you end up with a different y value that didn't match your point, that means you made a math error somewhere. That's kind of a nice little check. Okay, 21. Find the equation, slope-intercept form, given slope, passes through the point. Okay, kind of same instructions. So tell us, slope is 3/4. And if we got 4, negative 3. Okay, step 1. Find your slope. Well, slope's given. M is... Actually, I didn't read those instructions real carefully. Let's see what that says. Given through the passage of the point. Given slope. Okay. Just seems like they took a step backwards. The last problem, they may give you 2 points and had you find the slope, and here they're just giving you the slope directly. Made me think there was something that's missing. Step 2. Into y equals mx plus b, we're going to plug in our point. Plug this in for x, plug this in for y. So y is negative 3, x, or m is 3/4, and x is 4, plus b. And then we want to solve for b. 4's cancel. And we got negative 3 is equal to 3 plus b. And take that 3 over the left side and becomes a negative 3. So we got b is equal to negative 6. Now step 3 is to actually write our answer down. So we plug in the m from step 1, which is 3/4. We plug in b from step 2, which is negative 6. And again, you could do a quick check on it. If I plug 4 in for the x, 3/4 times 4, the 4's would cancel. I'd have 3 minus 6, which is negative 3, which matches that y part. Let's see, 22. Determine whether the pair of lines is parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So we got negative 24x plus y equals 3. And we got negative 8x plus 3y equals 9. Well, in order to decide if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither, you have to solve for y. It's your easiest method. So let's solve for y. And this one, first one is pretty straightforward. Just take negative 24x to the right side. And we go y is equal to 24x plus 3. Now for this m, if you got it in slope-intercept form is when y is by itself. Your slope, your m, is whatever number's in front of your x. So m is 24. Now this one here, we want to solve for y, and again, this is our solving a formula for a variable. In the first step, get rid of parentheses, don't have any. Second step, get rid of fractions, don't have any. Third step, get everything with the variable you're solving for on one side, everything else on the other side. We're solving for y, so let's take the negative 8x to the right side. Then we'll have everything with the y on the left side. Negative 8x becomes a positive 8x when we take it over. Now, last step is to divide everything by 3. So we've got 3y divided by 3, 8/3 x plus 9/3, which gives us y is equal to 8/3 x plus 3. So the m of this line is 8/3. Well, they're obviously not parallel, because if they were parallel, then they would be the same. Looking at these ones right here. And it doesn't look like perpendicular. Perpendicular is you start with one of your slopes, doesn't matter which one. Let's start with 8/3. You write it in fraction form. Well, 8/3 is already a fraction. If we'd started the 24, we would put 24 over 1. Then flip it. 8/3 becomes 3/8, and then change its sign. So it becomes a negative 3/8. So it's not parallel, it's not perpendicular. I'm assuming the last choice is neither. Neither. So neither is our answer. Let me save that page. Let's look at 23. Okay, 23. Find the equation for the line that passes through the point 2, negative 3, and is parallel. 2, negative 3. And parallel to y is equal to negative 1/2 x minus 4. Okay, step 1. This is the steps for given a point and a line that's parallel. Step 1 is to find m. The first step within that says to write the given line in slope-intercept form. So we've got y is equal to negative 1/2 x minus 4. This is already in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form means you get y by itself. Our second sub-step is to identify the slope. Reason why we put in slope-intercept form is we can easily see what our slope is, whatever number's in front of your x, so slope is negative 1/2. Our third sub-step. Parallel lines have the same slope. We said it's parallel to this line. We said its slope is negative 1/2. And since parallel lines have the same slope, this m will be negative 1/2. And then we go through our last two steps. Step 2, plug in a given point for x and y. So plug this in for x, plug this in for y. So we got negative 3 equals, and we said m was negative 1/2, times x, which is 2, plus b. Those 2's cancel. We got negative 3 is equal to negative 1 plus b. Take the negative 1 to the left side, becomes a positive 1. And you get b is equal to negative 2. Step 3. Plug in the slope from step 1, which is negative 1/2, and b from step 2, which we said was negative 2. And that'll give us our answer. Number 24. Find equation for the line passes through a point 6, negative 5, and is perpendicular to negative x plus 2y equals negative 14. Okay, and these are the steps for find equation line given a point and a perpendicular line. So step 1, find m. First sub-step is to write the given line in slope-intercept form. Well, this time it's not in slope-intercept form, so we have to solve for y. So I'll take negative x over first, becomes a positive x, because we're trying to get everything with y on one side. And then divide everything by the number in front of your y, which is 2. Now remember there's an invisible one before the x now, so that would be 1/2 x minus 14 divided by 2. So we get y is equal to 1/2 x minus 7. Now b. Identify the slope. The reason why we put it in slope-intercept form is so we can easily see what our slope is. So slope is 1/2. It's whatever numbers for your x. Now c. Perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative reciprocals. So we're going to start with the slope from 1b, which is 1/2. We're going to write it in fraction form. It's already in fraction form. We're going to flip it. That's the reciprocal part. So bottom goes top, top goes to bottom. So 1/2 becomes 2 over 1. And then we're going to change its sign. So it goes from positive 2 over 1 to negative 2 over 1. So the m we're trying to find is negative 2 over 1 or negative 2. Step 2. Plug in your given point for x and y. This is x, this is y. So plug in negative 5 for the y. Plug in m, which we said was negative 2, and x, which is 6, plus b. So we got negative 5 is equal to negative 12 plus b. Take the negative 12 to the left side, becomes a positive 12. And we get b is equal to 7. Step 3. Plug in the slope from 1c, which is negative 2, and plug in the b from step 2, which is 7. So we got y is equal to negative 2x plus 7. (25) is an oddball one. I noticed that when I was looking at it. Find equation for line as perpendicular line with the equation y is equal to negative 1. So it's perpendicular line with the equation. So perpendicular to this. So perpendicular to that. And probably passing through a point. Yeah. Passing through a point negative 4, 2. Now sometimes on these it's just easy to jump directly into the graph and from there find the equation line. Okay, let's talk about perpendicular to y is equal to negative 1. Perpendicular looks like this actually, but that's our x-axis and our y-axis. So y is equal to negative 1. That would be this line right here. Y equals is a horizontal line at that number. And then we got negative 4, 2. So negative 4, 2 be that point. So the line we're trying to find is perpendicular to that, which means we have to have a sharp corner here. So we're trying to find this vertical line here. Now vertical lines are always x equals a number, and it'll always be x equals whatever your x part of your point is. So our answer is x equals negative 4. Let's see, 26. Does a graph represent a function? This is the vertical line test. Looks something like this. Well, I can draw a vertical line here, intersects one place, draw one here, one place. There's no place I can draw a vertical line that intersects at 2 or more places, which means that this is a function. If we had drawn one that intersected 2 or more places, it's not a function. Okay, domain and range of the graph. Thought I was done. Guess not. Okay, domain. Now domain is your x values where your graph exists. So this keeps following the same pattern forever. So it's going up forever, and as it's going up, it's slowly going left. It keeps slowly going left forever, which means that any x value I pick here, if I go straight up, I'll find my graph somewhere. So it's going to negative infinity. Now over here, as it's going up, you see it's going to the right, so it'll keep slowly going right, keep slowly going to right forever, so it's going to positive infinity. So my domain would be negative infinity, positive infinity. Now our range. We're looking for our lowest y value. If I come down 1, 2, 3, if I come down to y is equal to 3 right here, if I go left or right, I don't find my graph anywhere. It doesn't exist there. The lowest point of the graph is actually right here. And if I come straight over to my y-axis, that's y is equal to 4. And then it's going up forever. So this is going from 4 and then up forever. Now that'll be a bracket there. The only time you don't have a bracket is when there's an open dot on your graph. Okay, let's take a look at number 27. It says, does the graph represent a function? Well, if I draw it here, if I draw a vertical line here, I see I get 2 or more intersections. And it says if any vertical line intersects your graph at 2 or more places, it's not a function. So this is not a function. That does not necessarily mean it does not have a domain and range, though. So let's talk about that. State the domain and range. Okay. Now x values. If I come over here, for example, at x equals negative 5, I go up or down, I don't find my graph anywhere. The leftmost point where the graph exists is this right here. If I come straight up, that's x is equal to 4. Now the rightmost, if I come over here to x equals 10, it doesn't exist anywhere over here. The rightmost point where it exists is right here. And if I come straight up, that's 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's going to go from 4 to 8. And again, we put brackets on them to include those numbers. Now for our y values, our range. My lowest point of my graph is right here. If I come straight over to my y-axis, that's negative 9. My highest point of my graph, right here, if I come straight over my y-axis, that's negative 5. So this is going from negative 9, negative 5, and again we'll have brackets on them. And those will be our answers. Let me go ahead and save that. And let's look at number 28. Does the graph represent a function? Going off like this and going off like this. We draw vertical lines. Draw one here, it's one place. Here's one place. Here's one place. Nowhere can I draw a vertical line that intersects at two or more places, which means this is a function. I'm assuming there are one domain and range. Let's see though. Yeah, step 2, find domain and range. Well, our domain. Let me look at a good graph. Again, your domain is where your graph exists x value wise. So if I come here to -7, for example, if I go up or down, I can find my graph. It exists there. This keeps going forever this way, so even if I come over here to -1 million, if I go up far enough, I'll find my graph, which implies it's going to negative infinity. Over on this side, same idea. If I come over here to x equals 50, if I go up far enough, I'll find my graph, because this keeps going forever in this direction. So our domain is going to be negative infinity to positive infinity. Now our range is our y values where our graph exists. If I come to y equals -1 right here, if I go left to right, I don't find my graph anywhere. The lowest point of my graph is actually right here at 0. And then as this is going to the side here, it's going up, so it'll keep going up forever. So this is going from 0 to positive infinity. Now infinities always have parentheses on them, but this one would put a bracket on the 0. And those would be our answers. 29. We got f of x equal 5x plus 3. And we're wanting to find f of -8. And we're wanting to find f of a plus 2. This is evaluating the function. So first thing we do is we go through, and everywhere we had an x, we'll put in a set of parentheses. Everything else remains exactly the same. All we did is replace the x with a set of parentheses. Next step is whatever we're evaluating for, whatever is inside the parentheses right here is what you're now going to plug in to these parentheses. And then our third step is to simplify. 5 times -8 is -40. -40 plus 3 gives us -37. Now f of a plus 2. Again, same idea. We go up to our original function. Everywhere we had an x, we'll put in parentheses. Everything else remains exactly the same. The 5, the plus 3, all I did is replace the x with parentheses. Step 2, whatever you're evaluating for, whatever's inside the parentheses here is automatically what you put in down here. So I'll put in a plus 2. And now we want to simplify. Distributive property, 5 times a is 5a, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3, which gives us 5a plus 10 plus 3 is 13. So our answer is 5a plus 13. Problem number 30. We got f of x is equal to 5x plus 2. And we're wanting to find f of 5 and f of a minus 4. And I think that's the last problem. Yes, it is. Okay, so f of 5. Again, we go through, and everywhere you have a variable, you put in a set of parentheses. Everything else remains exactly the same. The 5 and the plus 2, all we did is replace the x with parentheses. Whatever's inside the parentheses right here is automatically what we can put in right here. 5 times 5 is 25 plus 2, which gives us 27. Now we'll do the same thing with a minus 4. We'll go through, and everywhere we have a variable, we'll put in parentheses. And then whatever's inside the parentheses right here is what we'll put in right here. So put in a minus 4. Distributive property, 5 times a is 5a, 5 times negative 4 is negative 20, plus 2. And negative 20 plus 2 gives us negative 18. So our answer is 5a minus 18. And let's go ahead and save that page. There we go. And that's the end of the video.